Hey team, Patrick here. I often use the Roger Federer quote, the best players are the best movers. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you the essentials the pros are doing with their footwork that allows them to play the shots they do, and how you can be most efficient with your movement as every step you take on the tennis court counts. So let's get into it. So when it comes to these footwork patterns, there are three main phases: our movement to the ball during the stroke, and finally our recovery. Our movement during the stroke is very important, as this allows us to maintain balance, transfer our weight, and move seamlessly into our recovery. So the end of our shot is actually the beginning of our recovery. And the steps you take will depend on your stance and the direction you're moving at the time. Now we know what starts all good movement is the split step, but we can combine this with a unit step where we read the direction of the ball as we're coming down, turn and step out, going from an already wide stance to a wider stance, wide to wider, ready to make this explosive first move to the ball. From here, if I have to cover a lot of ground, I can cross my foot over and take big steps. You want to cover more court in the air than on the ground, so use as few steps as possible, not lots of little shuffles. Once you get to the ball, now you can use your adjustment steps at the right time to find the optimum spacing and positioning for your last big step. You don't want to stay in this position, but to then load so you can transfer your weight with good balance. You also use these adjustment steps on balls down the middle. Don't just think, I can reach that one, or with one step. Take more steps. And I like a 3-step minimum rule, where we're always moving our feet and adjusting on the balls of our feet like a boxer. Now let's look at our movement steps as we're hitting the ball, as there are a number of different footwork patterns, as I mentioned. If you're in an open stance, load up on this outside foot behind the ball, where you can push and drive your hip off this back leg into the ball and transfer your weight from your outside foot to your inside foot as you move into your recovery. If you're stepping into the ball in a neutral stance, allow your back foot to come around like this, as it's this foot that's going to help you get back. We call it a pivot step. It's this pivot motion that allows our body rotation. And if you're inside the court, recovering to the baseline, bring this foot slightly further around so you can recover without any additional steps. Ideally, we want our body weight going forwards, so we get the most power, and this would be a front foot pivot. But sometimes we're under more pressure from our opponent's deep shot, and it doesn't allow us to do this. It'd be then we'd use the back foot pivot. I still make use of my body's rotation. I get my back foot behind the ball, rotate my hips, and bring my front foot back. Body rotation is more important than weight transfer, and we don't want to force a certain move. So if your weight's on the front foot, it's the front foot pivot. And if you're going backwards and your weight's on the back foot, you simply use the back foot pivot. If you're stretched out wide in a closed stance, again, you want to pivot and come out of this stance. Bring your foot around to the side as you want to finish on your outside foot when moving out to a wide ball. Then you can use the crossover step recovery, or a combination of a crossover step to cover ground and a side shuffle, or you might not need the crossover step and can sidestep if you're already close enough to where you need to recover or reposition yourself on the court. Right team, that about does it for this video, but these are just the basics and there's so much more to it with advanced footwork patterns like the hop step, the mogul step, and even the jump step. So leave a like on this video if you want to see me cover these topics in the future, as you might see a combination of all of these different footwork patterns in a single point from the pros. Comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on court in the next one. Cheers guys.